I don't know what that is. I'm gonna check the
You
stream.
can dance if you want to. That's safety dance.
I guess I should send out a tweets since we are live.
Oh yeah, we are live. I keep forgetting we were gonna be live, or we are, or I don't know.
Screw it, we'll do it live.
Screw it.
Have to find.
Do you hear my wife talking in the background?
No,
Okay.
I hear some squeaking in the background, like.
that's just his mouse.
It's actually coming from you, Scott.
You do hear from me. I have a heater right down here.
Oh, okay.
If it's too loud, I can. Yeah, man, it's cold in my basement.
Is it the infamous butt heater from your parents' house?
No, it's not.
I feel like there's a story here.
Yeah.
It was just the heater that
It was
like
heater. It looked like it had a nice ass.
yeah. Like the plastic part of it just looked like a thick booty.
I can't believe you remember that, dude. That's awesome.
Y'all had a pleasant time with it.
No.
Oh gosh, that's awesome.
All right, straight up, I did not review any of my notes before this, so this is going to be completely new for me.
Straight up, I have no idea what happened in Arc 1.
That's great.
So we're all
Me
we're all
neither.
All right, it's tweeted. Sent out the tweets.
Awesome.
Okay, sorry everyone.
If
So-
for just a sec.
Oh my gosh, I was about to start. It's all good. We have no rush.
My computer's dying.
That's not good.
I have way too much open on my Mac.
You have way too much what? Oh, open.
Yeah.
I thought you said opids. I was like,
Opioid.
what? Just covered.
Got to make money during the lockdown.
All that, all them opioids.
I will say, I don't know how often you guys go back and listen to the episodes. I laugh a ton. And I don't know if it's like awkward laughing, like I don't know what else to do, or it's a lot of laughing on my end.
You're just having a
Should
good
we-
time.
DM giggles.
Yeah, I guess that's what it is. The DM
That
giggles.
I had a pretty fun D&D session the other night. We
Was
did.
was that your one with your paladin?
Yeah.
Fifth ring or level 20?
Level 20. I did an Oathbreaker Paladin.
How was that?
It was pretty awesome. I did a shitload of damage.
Nice.
And then when you become a Dreadlord, and be able to like take the shadows into you and then like use the shadows to attack. It's just like, oh, I can use bonus attack, and oh, there's 80 damage. Cool.
That's nuts. You're basically gods at that point. At
Yeah.
level 20. That's what
And
they
then
were
I
critical role.
crit the final boss with the Vorpal Greatsword.
Oh, is she case
And- No, it's uncuttable, so it did 5d8 extra damage.
Oh wow, nice. So it was
So
a
the
crit
base damage-
too.
Yeah, yeah.
Ooh.
So it was like a crit too.
How much damage was it? Was it more than Steel Scar's 109?
It was like 180 something for just that
Ooh.
one hit.
Good
That's
lord.
nuts.
And then I had another attack and then my shadow attack as well.
Wow, that's nuts. It's a lot of attacks.
And my party was like, hey, does anyone have healing? And I'm like, I mean, I do, but it's not for you.
Breaker.
I'm an Oathbreaker. I don't want to help you. My background was I was the big bad end guy of another world. And as dying, I get vooped into this one shot.
Nice.
Freaking
Damn
surprise.
heroes.
All right. We
All right.
can get started with this. So, welcome everybody to Goofs and Gabs, episode 1. So a little about this. So Cody and I previously ran a small podcast, ended early, but one thing we had done on that we really enjoyed was we would go back and recap episodes. In this case, we're going to be recapping an entire arc, which will be the first 4 episodes of our show. We thought it was fun time just to talk, hang out, give people who are listeners some insight into what we were thinking behind the scenes when things were going on. As me, the DM, I could give you guys some insight into things that I was maybe planning that didn't happen, stuff like that. It's just a fun way to talk about what we're doing since we're here and enjoying it anyways. So,
We get spoilers? Sweet.
if you want to know, yeah, I'll tell you. I mean, obviously, it's not going to spoil anything existing. Like I can tell you what I have planned.
If only you would have talked to this NPC.
You would have got 1,000,000 gold. So we are recording this as of episode 21 was the most recent episode that was released. That was the party was preparing for a siege in the city of Natal.
Oh
the
shit, we
chapel.
are. That's right.
Yeah, so the next episode will be a large siege, which will actually be a few days. So looking forward to that. So real quick, we're just going to
spoiler warning,
introduce.
I guess, for anyone listening.
Oh, we'll cut that maybe.
Yeah, you should cut that.
We'll cut it. Don't worry. Sorry if you're watching live. Taking a pause so I can cut that. All right. So I wanted to real quick to introduce ourselves. Go ahead and give your real name, your character name, and your online name, since we all call each other by 3 different names, and that may be confusing to people who are listening. So we'll just start on who I'm seeing on my screen. We'll start with APOC.
Okay. Hi, I'm Ian. I play Casimir. Online name is Apoc Mora.
Nice. Turtle, you next.
Hello, my name is Caesar. I play Steel Scar, and my online name is Immortal Turtle.
Cody.
My name's Cody. I play Elamir. King Blunkers is my gaming name.
We call him King sometimes. And then Zero.
All right, name's Andrew. I play Levy, and online name is Zero or Zero Dreams, whatever. Doesn't really matter.
All right. And my name is Scott. Online name is Karthus. And I don't have a character named DM, so I'm everybody.
Name all
Every
your
character.
NPCs.
Name
every NPC.
Let me get my notes.
And it better be alphabetical.
It'll take a little bit.
I want by level.
That would be interesting to see who is the highest level character you've met so far.
You should make them by level, but also alphabetical. In the
Oh
Spoiler.
god.
Okay, that's
One
too
of our
much.
horses.
Mr. Little's levels.
We're done. No.
The BBEG, he was actually right behind you guys the whole time. You never saw him.
Oh God.
Spoiler,
He
it
was a
was me.
So we all met real quick. So Cody and I are actually related. We're brothers and we're in-laws, brothers-in-law. I think that's the way to say it.
Yeah.
So we've known each other for a bit. We went to high school together. Cody and I ran a blog called the Goblin Gazette for a little bit. And during that, we met Ian, APOC, who's also a content creator. And then Cody and I eventually decided to start a Destiny clan. And that's where we met Turtle and Zero. And we had quite the thriving clan until Destiny just went down the crapper. So we're just waiting for
It's
the
fine.
next.
It's fine. It'll get better. It'll come back.
I'm sure the
Wait
next
for the next
big.
season and upgrade. Or
I don't know if the next season will fix it. I think it'll be the next comet or whatever they call it in the
the
fall.
next September.
the next
Yeah.
expansion.
Yeah, when the space Doritos get here. So we'll see what happens.
Space Doritos.
Cool. And then one last thing for everyone, just go around and say how long you've been playing D&D. So we'll again start with APOC.
I actually don't know how long I've been playing it. I was introduced to it when I was visiting my aunt and uncle, so I think that was back during D&D Advanced, maybe. So I've actually got like figurines I was given for D&D Advanced that are still in boxes and shit. So,
Nice.
so I guess I've been playing for quite a few years, but it's never
Cool.
actually been D&D until this time. I guess.
So you've been playing
'cause I don't really
tabletop
count.
games.
Yeah, it's been like
for a
Pathfinder
while.
and Starfinder, and then I started
Gotcha.
3.5 about a year before meeting you guys.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool. Turtle.
I think it's been 2 years now, and I actually started off DMing when I used to be in an old Destiny clan. So I had no experience on DMing or anything, but I'm
They
like,
probably sucked.
screw it.
Competition.
This is when I was on PlayStation, and I had never crossed the idea of building a PC at that time.
Gotcha.
And I played. I think we were playing 4th edition, and then I also ended up joining a random group that I met online, and we were playing 3.5.
Nice.
And
Cool.
well, when you play with college students, it just goes to crap because they're always busy. So,
Yep.
and now I'm
Alright.
here.
Cool. Cody.
I probably have the least experience here. I've first played. I think I was thinking about this the other day. I think I first played 10 years ago, and that makes it sound like I played a lot, but really I haven't. I first played 10 years ago, and then I didn't really play until our last podcast. There's a few random, sessions that Scott DM'd. There's only been one session I've ever played that Scott hasn't DM'd for me. But yeah, so I often get lost in the details and the numbers and the rules. But I
You know
like
what that
people
means?
and their
You got a
creativity.
DM.
You got DM.
Is that how you
Better way
learn?
to learn. Better way to learn than to teach. All right, Zero.
I don't know, like 5-ish years, something like that. Just been playing with a group of friends, pretty semi regularly,
Cool.
and then we didn't get to play enough, and so I wanted to play again and play more.
Awesome.
So how do you guys?
I've been playing for probably about 12 years, I think. This is actually the longest running campaign I've had. Most campaigns I've had a lot. They usually fizzle out after about 6, 7, 8 sessions. Just people not able to keep making it. So I'm glad that I have a group that's keeping going. It's fantastic. So it's been great. I have mainly DM'd. I am for a forever DM for the most part. I've played like a handful of times, and it's usually been one shots or games that were supposed to turn into long-term campaigns that panned out. So most of the characters you encounter are characters I have made to play and have never had the chance to play, so they become NPCs in my game.
Aw.
So
I know how it
a
feels
weird
to be the
Stephen King
forever
concept.
DM.
What was
that's
that,
most of
Cody?
the
It's like a
people.
weird Stephen King concept.
So yes, that's many of the characters that you have encountered are people that I have had sitting in my pocket waiting to use and never pans out. So
Yeah.
all right, so a little background real quick. So Athane is the world we play in. It's my own personal homebrew. I've been kind of working on it for I don't know how long, but it's been kind of like a passion project of mine. Whenever I have time, work on it. Always wanted to make my own world. Anytime I try and do a guided story like one of the books, I just don't have enough interest to actually research things because I'm like, I can do this myself. So I always just end up doing homebrew stuff. So that's the world that it takes place in. And then I'm going to give a quick summary of the arc. So Levy met with Grogard Willem for an interview with the Goblin Gazette. After meeting, he met with Elamir and Steelscar. They were selected to work together as they all had differing skill sets that would, when used together, could form a cohesive team. Steelscar would provide the muscle, Elamir a good tracker and good at finding things, and Levy would be the support and the reporter. They then set out on their first assignment to investigate the sewers beneath Eserim, as there were some odd creatures emerging from there. They made their way into the sewers and were instructed to find Captain Lucas Doring when the way was barred. Captain Doring claimed his hands were tied on the matter, but he would be willing to look the other way, as he desired for the matter to be dealt with. So the party was allowed to enter the sewers. Once there, they encountered some slug creatures who attacked them, as well as some large two-headed rats. Levy managed to find a special gem in a partially collapsed portion of the sewers. They continued onward. They soon found a gelatinous cube, and finally they found a large collection of waste and trash that had been thrown into the sewers. And it seemed like it had turned into some sort of creature. And the creature attacked them. It was killed by Elamir, and the party returned to Grogard and finished up their first report and celebrated their first victory and became full-fledged reporters of the Goblin Gazette. So you may notice that Casimir is not there because he joined later.
He did.
I'm a futuristic ghost.
So one thing, first question was, so the format, and I've heard this from a few people on Twitter when I've told them about our show, is that they thought it was an interesting concept that we had everyone playing as reporters. Did you guys have any thoughts on remembering us trying to figure out if you remember any of the other concepts we came up with to tell the story? Feel free to share those, or just your thoughts on the format of being reporters. if you had any.
I liked
Well,
being a reporter. I thought it was interesting. It was like, not a generic adventurer. That's cool.
Yeah, like what I find interesting is that most of the time whenever you have like a party as we are, normally you're out there trying to rush in, rescue, and be heroes, but this literally gives us the option of saying, you know what? I think this is too high for our pay grade, so let's dip out.
Yo, hold on. When would Steel Scar ever say that?
It gives him the option.
Give him
No.
the option. Yeah.
Doesn't mean he takes it.
No, Steel Scar wouldn't take the option. That's the thing. But knowing that I have other party members that could be like, you know what, Steel Scar, we need to hold off for a bit. They could talk reason into him to backing out if needed.
So we just have to have interventions.
Every just in the middle of like the town burning, you're like, Steel Scar, sit down. Quick talk.
Hey, could you have a seat over here?
Unroll the banner.
On the banner.
Here's the talking ball. Only one person can talk when they hold this ball.
Oh my god.
No,
I'm casting Zone of Truth over all of us.
oh god, a D&D
Intervention.
intervention. I thought it was. I tried to not meta so much, and think like, because at a certain point, like, yeah, I mean, we got to fight because it's D&D and combat's like half of what's baked into it. And I thought, like, how crazy would it be if like normal everyday reporters were like as involved in the story as we are? So it's not a perfect concept, but I do like it. It gives us an excuse to like be there and talk to people, especially because I consider myself very bad at role playing. So it gives an excuse of being like, I can ask you because it's my job, not because I actually care.
Mm-hmm. Just picturing like a real reporter, be like, well, John, I just participated in a shootout.
Let me tell you how I feel.
I was shot in the leg, but I'm doing fine. Thank you for asking.
I really liked the reporter thing also, just kind of like from that, because it gave us all a reason to like not hate each other right off the bat and kind of get past that initial like first group, like first couple times of like, hey, who are you guys? Why are you working with me? And like now I have like more of a reason. Like, well, okay, yeah, they're my coworkers at first, and maybe they'll become my friends, but as of right now, they're my coworkers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it just kind of changed that whole like beginning interaction, which I kind of liked.
Yeah.
In my limited experience, I feel at the start of a lot of campaigns, everybody's like new and you have all your backstories, and for some reason nobody trusts anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And so like people are like, why should I be with you? It's like, well, I'm going to be, but why?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, obviously they're already vetted by the same group I'm already a part of. We're good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like they're saying with this, it's basically like, oh, we're together. We all work for the same person at this moment. So it's not like I ever agreed to be with them. It's I'm doing this because I'm basically under contract with the Goblin Gazette.
Mhm.
So I'm fulfilling my duty to get my pay, as the other characters are basically fulfilling their duty to get their pay.
Yeah. Yeah. Getting you guys to work together was one of the things I wanted to make sure worked out well. So I think actually after you guys all met, Grogard made a point of saying you all succeed as a team or fail together or something like that. Because I wanted to drive home that you guys need to work together, and you guys were going to, but from a character role-playing perspective, your characters need a good reason to work together, and like you said, being coworkers is a perfectly good reason to succeed, because it's like, hey, we all get paid if we do this right, and if one of us dies, then that reflects poorly on all of us, so we don't want that to happen.
Yeah, Casimir.
Sorry, if one of us dies permanently, not Casimir death.
You just have to visit Halas every couple of days.
There's a revive tax for every.
He has a punch cart with death. Just like, yep, back again. Oh, I got my smoothie.
Was it every 8 swipes I get like a sandwich or something?
Yeah, exactly.
For all you guys know, I'm just visiting Halas to like set up a mansion ahead of time. Die permanently eventually.
You
so I might
get
as well
frequent
get furniture moved in.
It's this
ahead of time.
timeshare.
frequent
Yeah.
flyer miles.
Yeah.
Gonna
No, and
show up
obviously-
know everyone there already.
Would those be frequent dire miles?
There you go.
Oh
Frequent
gosh,
dire
yes.
miles.
That's much better.
Get
For
some-
Scott and I, he mentioned we had a blog, and I still love it. I still kind of wish we were doing it, but it was just so much work, and it was successful. It was far more successful than I ever thought it would be, which is
Yeah.
like a fun but sad thing to admit. But so it's really fun to kind of have that live on in some form.
Yeah, there was one thing because that was like my child building that blog, and then so when we decided to kind of drop it, because I mean when we started, I had no kids and Cody had no kids, and now we have children, and our lives are completely different now than when we started. So it was tough to keep that going.
You mean your free time evaporates when you have children?
Yes, it does.
Weird.
Who would have thunk it? So it is nice that it lives on and we're still able to talk about it. I kind of enjoyed that. It's cool. All right, so the next question I had was, so what made you pick your characters? And talk a little bit about your characters without giving away any big backstory. So we'll start with Turtle.
All right, so I wanted to, I wanted to be the kind of wanted to have the kind of character that basically charges in, like leading the lines and getting most of the action. Because I feel
And
like
to salute, right?
yeah, and like to salute, but yeah, I mean, I guess everybody can guess because Steelskirt does like to salute that his character does have a military background. So I mean, it's for him it was a common courtesy according to the way he was taught. But I really just wanted to feel like I could control battle by being in the front lines and choosing my targets up close, and I mean putting the skill set that he has to use.
Nice. Cool. All right, Cody.
So I picked I started with Ranger because I do not ever envision myself, whether it's role playing video games or I don't know, like I'm just not a tough guy. Like I'm not a fighter. I'm not like hulking dude swinging swords and axes and whatever. So I really like the kind of concept of in a lot of these fantasy settings of Rangers, just because they have like finesse and like a bit of strategy, and it's not necessarily like overpowering, but maybe more of a mental thing. So start with Ranger, and then I know nothing about subclasses at all, and so I guess the Horizon Walker that's one of the newer subclasses, right? Yeah, so basically I just was like, oh, this is new, and I kind of like I heard portals and then I was in. Like that's all I wanted to do. And I didn't even know like what it meant. So I picked it and I built the character, and then I figured out what I was getting into. And I'm still happy with the choice. I'm glad that I picked it.
Awesome. All right, Zero.
I wanted to play with magic because all my other campaigns that I've ever done in one shots have always been a like sword and board user.
Mhm.
So I wanted to play with magic, and I figured Bard had some fun magic that I could use as only Bard. A lot of support utility, and then I thought it also kind of played in well with the reporter aspect of it. It's like, oh, I can tell the story.
Yeah. Cool. And then for those three we were trying to figure out, we're like, we probably need a tank, healer, and DPS to some capacity. It doesn't need to be perfect. So it's kind of also what went into those three. And then APOC. How about you?
I just always played a lot of wizards and clerics, and effectively only those. So I made a list of the different classes that you had approved and random rolled to pick one, and ended up on fighter.
Really? You
or
mean
paladin.
Paladin?
Yeah.
Really?
So
I didn't know that's how you did it.
I was like, okay, I keep picking the same stuff. That's my comfort zone. That's not a lot of fun because then I don't get this like surprise of experimentation and discovery, and I don't get to play a whole lot. So sticking with the same old just didn't sit right. So I was like, screw it. And I just started random rolling aspects of the character. It's like, okay, what race, what gender, what class, like what class focus.
Didn't know that.
So most of Casimir is completely random rolled, including
Nice.
like backstory and back history. I just used like random generators or just asked random people random questions and had those what their responses were to random questions be aspects of him.
Nice.
So like the mask. So I think that was like a cousin was getting ready to party and it's like, yeah, I'm making a mask. I'm like, okay, character now has a mask.
Didn't know that. Cool. Awesome.
Can I add a question into here?
Yeah.
And it may make more sense to talk more in depth on the future thing when we cover the next arc when you actually are a player. But Ian, I guess, started off as a guest star, right? So we had a limited planned session with him. You guys know more about that than us, but my understanding was Ian was going to be 3 episodes.
Yeah.
It was just that, yeah, it was one of the arcs, yeah.
Like part of an arc, 3 episodes. You guys were showing up to help me with something I'd been assigned to.
Yep.
And
then we were like, wow, having 4 people is really handy.
Yeah, 4 people makes things go a lot easier.
Than
It
3,
really
yeah.
does. It really does.
yeah, when you guys were okay with me continuing to play, I was ecstatic. I was like, yes, I get to keep playing. Oh my gosh.
Well, and APOC's been, or Ian or APOC has been around our blog, like we said, so long. And so it was just like, you know, it was awesome just to like finally get to like spend more time with someone who's like was supporting our blog from like an outside perspective. And then now we're all kind of one big fam.
Yay, one big happy fam.
Yep.
We fight together. I die. You guys don't. Can't really say we die together. So
I did want to also talk about a few of the changes I made to the characters. So for those who are wondering, I gave them an ASI or feat at level 2 with the stipulation that they could not go over 18, I think is what it was. So it was kind of to round out some of the lower stats or bump up a middle one or take a feat. And then the way I have them roll HP, I don't know if you guys remember this and are still doing it, is I let them roll first when they level up. If the number they get is lower than the like static number you can take, so if they're rolling a D8, the static number is a 5. If they get below that, they just take a 5. If they get above it, they can take the roll. Part of the reason,
I definitely haven't been doing that.
Yeah, I never knew.
Yep, you should do that. So if you didn't know that, yes, that would help you a lot, Casimir, with your health. So you can go back and do that if you want to. But yes, part of the reason I did that, you've been doing that, right, Turtle and Cody?
Yeah. No, I have.
Okay. No,
Nobody has?
Turtle. I mean, Turtle's, I guess, the only one doing it. Well, the reason I wanted you
why
guys,
he's so tanky.
the reason I wanted you guys to do that was because, like, I get it, crap happens, and it's possible one of your characters would die, but I wanted to help prevent that a little bit by giving you guys a little bit of buffs and kind of help out with that. So that was also just something that I wanted to do to make you guys a little beefier, because I know in Critical Role, which I had only recently started watching, I've not even watched the new arc, which I know is like 100 episodes in. I know they have quite a few things that help beef them up, and it just made them a little more durable. So personally, I wanted to do
they
that,
also get a lot of shit thrown at them.
They do, but they also have like 8 people. So
yeah, that's true. 8 people is insane. Like, that's so much.
One of the issues with 5e is the action economy. If you have a large party, it is an overwhelming advantage for your party. The bigger the party you have, just because of the action economy. Cool. All right. So the next question was for Zero. So if you remember, you had an interview. The other characters apparently hadn't. They had an interview, but that was not part of the story. You had an interview. So what were your thoughts on that? If you remember it.
I got to pass my interview to do my best. I had written it all out. I think I still have it written. Like, I had written all of my stuff out about me so that I could basically just have an idea of what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And yeah, I liked it. I thought it was a nice way to do it, and I wasn't super intimidated by Groggard, but like, I still didn't want to let him down.
Yeah.
Also, I'm kind of intrigued about him and his backstory, but we don't know anything about it. So.
Yeah, you've been away from Groggard for a little bit. I will say one of the things I based his character on is Jameson from Spider-Man.
Mm.
I pictured him with
JJ.
the suspenders and the big cigar. I tried to do his voice, but that just destroyed my throat, so I kind of went a different way. Apparently, and it's not sounded exactly like Steel Scar, but
I need pictures of Spider-Man.
so yes, that was the inspiration for Groggard. So next time you see him, just picture Jameson, but a half orc.
Mm. I like it.
I like it. I dig it. It's pretty cool.
So after the interview, which you pass with, I think, flying colors, if I remember right. If not, you still pass, so it doesn't really matter.
Mm-hmm.
You guys ended up meeting, and I went back and listened probably about a month ago to all this, and one of the things that I thought was hilarious was Steel Scar kept asking how tall everybody was.
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Like anytime we describe someone, he's like, "How tall are they compared to Steel Scar?" And I'm like, I don't know.
But you should know.
So yes, that was funny.
It matters. It matters if he's looking up or down.
It's true. He wanted to be the tallest.
Mm-hmm.
He
Which I
needs
think
to know
he
which
is.
direction to salute.
Is that what it is?
Do I salute
Up or down? It's a whole military thing that you got to know about saluting. So yeah, that was fun. But you guys basically met. Then Groggard threw the job at you, which was to go investigate the sewers beneath Eserim. And basically, you guys had a blank slate to do whatever you wanted. I didn't really give you a whole lot of direction on how to get in. It was kind of for you guys to figure out. I wanted to give you that freedom. Like I didn't want it to be like I didn't want him to give you like tips because that was kind of part of the whole part of the interview that he had was that you guys had to figure it out on your own. So what kind of led you to the direction that you guys ended up going, if you remember, because I know it was a while ago.
So we talked to the two guards that were like guarding the sewer, right?
Yeah, so I believe what happened was you guys met the Brightstones, Oscar and Amber,
Yes,
the
we did.
dwarves.
Yeah.
Yes. I kind of based them off of Q from James Bond.
Mm.
Kind of having that someone there who can give you stuff you need for your missions and stuff like that.
Amber, I need a pen that explodes.
He is a magician and you're a wizard and he is a
shoe phone.
smith. There you go, shoe phone. So yeah, I think they pointed you guys to the sewers.
We went and saw that a town guard was blocking the entrance to the sewer, and he said that there are odd creatures coming out.
Yes, I think you guys tried to get in.
We did try to get in through the guard. He wouldn't let us.
No,
I think it was a dwarf.
It was a
dwarf. He wasn't letting Steel Scar go because what I thought was funny was you had the bard who probably took freaking double proficiency in persuasion, right?
Oh yeah, I have a ridiculous.
And Steel Scar kept trying to talk and persuade the whole time.
He needed to intimidate.
Yeah,
I think it was like +7 at level 2 or something.
Yeah. And Steel Scars was like, what?
My
+2
persuasion is just +2.
Yeah.
I'm persuasive. Hey.
Steel Scar thinks he's persuasive. That's the key there.
Steel Scar's int.
So was what finally ended up happening is we ended up going in to talk to the captain and he basically just greenlit us.
Yeah, so basically what happened was you guys talked to the guards, trying to figure out how to get in. They basically told you, no, you can't go in. And I believe Levy tried lying and saying that they were sent by someone up on high, who, when questioned about that person, Levy did not know much about them. Remus Lothander was his name. And so
I have that written down.
he was the guy that you were saying had sent you, and he basically told you, the dwarf basically told you to shove off, and if you wanted to get in, you needed to go talk to the captain. And that's where you guys ended up heading to the guardhouse, which is where you met Captain Lucas Doring.
I liked this direction because of that battle in my head that I thought earlier. I was like, real reporters wouldn't shank these guards and go in, or like, I don't know, maybe they'd sneak in if they were like real crafty, but like they'd probably just go ask for permission.
Yeah. I mean, might as well try the easy solution of ask for permission, see if we can get it somehow. And if we can't, well then we can take other measures, but
Yeah.
it seems to be the more reportery style.
Yeah, it's and besides, like I think Roger said basically he didn't want us to make the Goblin Gazette look bad either.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically told you that anything you do reflects on them, so don't do anything illegal. Or don't get caught. Or bad. And I think he basically said if you get caught, he's not going to like cover for you or something like that.
Yeah.
You're kind of on your own. So, so you spoke with Captain Lucas Doring, who again was based off a personal character of mine that I had sitting in the backlog, never used. And actually, what's funny is you guys still don't know a ton about him, which I just thought was funny.
No,
there's a part later that something happens, and you guys are like, "What?" So I thought that was
that one.
Yeah, I thought that was just funny. It's funny being the DM because you know everything, and then like I even have to I have to sometimes be like, "Wait, what do they actually know right now?"
Mm-hmm.
Because I know everything in my head, and it's tough to remember exactly what you guys know. So it's always an interesting thing to do as a DM. So after you guys spoke with Captain Lucas Doring, also I based him off of the witch hunters. His look, his appearance was based off the witch hunters from Warhammer Fantasy.
Got it.
I'm a big Vermintide 2 player. There's a witch hunter in there, so I kind of based his look off that. For those who are curious. So basically, went and talked to Captain Lucas Doring. He told you that he wanted to take care of the problem, but he couldn't due to some political matters. And being a man who just wants to take care of people, he was willing to look the other direction and let you guys go. There was a funny part where you guys are about to head down the sewers, and I think Levy cast light on Steel Scar, and then Steel Scar turned around and cast light on Levy.
Yes.
Was the
Light boys.
Light boy.
Was the first inkling that Steel Scar was not your stereotypical human.
Who knows? I'm a stereotypical human. I cast light.
It's true. He was a fighter. He was a fighter. As far as you know, I guess you could have been a paladin at that point.
Could have been a paladin.
You don't know.
True.
Yeah.
You know Steel Scar.
You don't know me. I still got my secrets.
He's a wizard with a focus that is his sword. Warlock?
That's his focus. So it's true. Yeah, you don't know. I guess it's interesting because the characters don't actually know what classes people are. So it's like, oh, he seems like he carries around a giant sword. I guess he would kind of appear paladin-y to you guys.
Well, I guess, I mean, we probably recognize like what a paladin looks like, and he has like different styled armor, I would imagine, than like a typical paladin.
But I think what would throw you guys off is the fact that I was able to cast light on you, and I was also able to heal one of you down there.
Mm-hmm.
So that might throw you guys off. Like, what?
That's the perks to not knowing anything about D&D.
Everything surprises.
No idea. I was like, sure, you got light. I know what that is.
You're a fighter with magic initiate.
Could be an option.
Yeah, I'm actually a
warlock.
warlock.
You got paladin with the blessed fighting style, so I've got access to light and some various cleric spells and cantrips, which is really bizarre.
Yes, that was another thing that we did, was that at some point Wizards of the Coast released some UA
Arcana.
Yeah, some UA class features, and I let them take some of those. I think the main ones were Casimir took that so we could get some spells, and then Levy switches on a spell every short rest. Was that what he took?
Long rest.
Long rest. Okay.
I mean, I wanted the Bardic Inspiration allows you to apply to magic damage as well, but I mean, wouldn't let me have that one.
I don't think
Eldritch
I
Blast.
am taking any.
Eldritch Blast.
You can only be so strong and not overdo
Yes. I do think it's funny. Every time I feel like you cast Eldritch Blast, it's always like a 1 or a 2. I don't think you've ever rolled an 8.
no, it's always 1 or 2. My D10s are fucking cursed.
I need to just ship you a box of D10s so you can just rotate through them until you find one that
There
is
you go.
cursed.
It's funny because
I
like you get 2 attacks, and it's always like 1 and 2, maybe 3 damage like in each of the attacks.
This is why I need to roll 8 D6s.
With your fireball, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what I like about mine is that on 1s and 2s, I just reroll the dice on my damage.
It's true.
Yes.
So I mean, if I roll like I've rolled like 1s and 2s and I rerolled them and I've gotten 1s and 2s out of them, so I had to keep it afterwards on the second
Yeah.
roll.
Mm-hmm.
But it gives me a chance to not suck.
It's true. I also think
just
in
dump
this
spell slots.
in this arc, you were using the UA
Yeah,
samurai, which you got resistance, which was 10 times better than the one that they have that's official, which is resistance to slashing, piercing, bludgeoning.
yeah, because I remember using that, and then on the I think after the first arc, you're like, hey Caesar,
Let's
look,
switch
this is
this out.
he's like, here's the official one now that you can actually use, and I was like, dude, that's
That
gonna
sucks. Yeah, it's like temp health, and it's only like 5 temp health until you get to like level 10. It's nuts.
Jeez.
yeah,
You don't
but
get anything, and I think they limited the number of times you can do it.
yeah,
Like I think you can only do it like 3 times every short rest now. Before it was a bit
yes,
more.
it was 5, and then it dropped down to 3, and instead of 10 temp, it's 5 temp.
Yeah,
And instead of resisting, they took off the resistance to bludgeon, piercing, and slashing too.
yeah, it's nuts. You get like nothing.
And
But
then,
when you're
and it
doing-
was advantage till the end of my next turn.
That too, yeah. And now it's
So-
just advantage on this turn, so you have to action surge when you do it to get the most out of it.
Exactly. No, yeah. And then, but the thing that sucks is that, like, if I use that and I crit, then I can't use a bonus action to attack again because I use my
true.
bonus action.
You're already getting like 4 attacks if you action surge, so it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, but what after I use it though? 3 attacks, bruh.
Oh gosh. I don't think Steel Scars had any issues killing people in this dishing out damage, so
Yeah, when one of the squares is he kills everyone in a combat before one of the other people in the team can have their turn. And that realistically happens each time. God, if I roll another 4 on my initiative, I'm gonna cry. Steel Scar, what'd you get? 26. Casimir, what'd you get? 3. Casimir sits down and plays with rocks while Steel Scar murders the
much.
next 14 enemies.
And they're gone in 6 seconds.
That's only happened one time where I completely
Yes.
That
That-
happened my first session with you guys,
Yeah, that was his
right?
first session. Yeah,
Yes,
that was his
it was.
first
That was
combat, yeah.
awesome. I still
Yeah.
have the rock with the character.
You took the rock, a memento.
Underdark Rock.
There you go.
Well, I'm not playing
That's
a
what it
wizard. I
is.
can carry everything. Oh my gosh, it's amazing.
Oh, because you're not weak.
Yeah, I've got like 175 pounds of equipment, and I'm still
go.
nowhere near my limit.
It's nice.
Oh, it's
So you guys made your way down the sewers. They were just stereotypical sewers. But you fought some slugs down there.
Slugs? I thought we
Yeah.
fought the 2-headed rats.
You did fight two rats, but the slugs were first. So you basically entered this
God,
big.
slugs.
There's like this
Oh.
big room, and they spit stuff at you.
Yeah.
That I
My
was
beautiful
playing.
face.
I was playing Dark Souls 3 at the time.
Mm.
So that's where the slugs came from.
Mm.
Because I was in that area, the swampy area, and I was fighting the slugs constantly. So I'm like, I'm gonna make them fight slugs. Seemed like creatures that'd be moving around in sewers, eating waste. So thought it was a good fit.
Speaking of the gelatinous cube.
Yes. So
Ugh.
to that point, you guys did fight some 2-headed rats.
We did. That
Um,
was creepy.
Yep, I think. Yeah,
I think
they were just 2-headed
Elamir had a
rats.
really cool kill of like the
Yeah,
double-handed
he slid
swords.
through. He slid through Steel Scar's legs, I think, and like
Yeah.
Yeah.
chopped his heads off or something.
And I've done
Yeah, he
nothing cool
did.
since.
He killed some stuff.
We killed a dragon, or not the wyvern.
Don't worry, there's no dragon yet.
Wrong terminology.
They are.
You turn a corner. Red dragon.
So you guys fought the two-headed rats. Part of what I was going for with this whole thing was that, sorry, and you guys figured this out later, was that people were throwing crap into the sewers, and what I had envisioned was a lot of it was from like potions and stuff, and those potions were like getting into the water that the creatures were drinking and living in, and that's what was causing all these mutations of the creatures. So that's why the slugs were giant and
I
the
remember
rats
the
had two
potions.
heads. Yeah. So it was part of the whole my whole full thing behind that as to why you were fighting two-headed rats and why there were strange creatures coming out of the sewers. So yeah, jumping ahead, you guys got to some spot where you had to like raise the gate, make your way through. You eventually find a small, like, actually no, before that, Levy finds his Arcanist gem, which I don't even know if you still remember you have that.
I have it. I know I can't do
Okay.
anything with it because I looked at how much it costs to make the ring, and I'm just like, well, all right. I'm never making this.
Yeah, that was fun. Nice reward for exploring. So you found that, and then you guys found a small campsite, and you fought the gelatinous cube, which was entertaining because we had a bunch of mechanical issues with the fight because I think Levy cast Thunderwave.
I didn't have it.
No. You cast what's the mind one? The hallucination thingy, I think.
Yeah.
Whatever that one is. And
Remember.
we just kept going with it, so the cube had to try and move away. But then Steel Scar was in the cube, and it like took him away. But then we realized that the cube can't be under the effect that it was under. Forget what it was. So that was for
Because they
me.
can't hear or something like that.
Yeah, they can't hear, and part of Dissonant Whispers was that they had to be able to hear.
Yeah.
So it was my bad as DM, but I've been trying to do a better job of actually reading all of the things about my creatures that I'm throwing at you guys because I've done it a few times that I've just totally. It's not till we're actually in the middle of combat that I'm like, wait, what? That's supposed to work that way.
It's the luxury of being a player.
You don't have to
just
worry
have
about
to know
that.
you. You don't have to know anybody else.
Yes, it's bit me a few times. So
I felt really bad about the cube because later we learned it was essentially a government employee.
Yeah.
It was just cleaning the sewers.
Yeah.
Was there a non-combative way, or would it have like eaten us no matter what?
It was gonna eat you because it saw you as
Trash.
yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Wow. Why you
It
gotta
was-
do me like that?
I'll feel less guilty now.
It was
Wow,
partially
it's at our
my
lowest.
it's partially my fault because I partially on you guys. You didn't ask a ton of
We didn't
information
ask.
about the sewers.
No,
You were just
we
like,
didn't.
we can go in. All right, we're going. And so you just like
Yeah.
went in the sewers. I feel like Captain Doring would have explained to you that there were gelatinous cubes on there. I forgot to mention that, so that was my bad. I also was going to mention that when you passed that like wooden gate that Steel Scar had to lift, it was like dramatically cleaner than the other side. I also forgot to mention that. That was my fault. But yeah, I think most of you have fought gelatinous cubes before. It's like a Cody's now is such a
No.
stereotypical
Never.
like really. Oh, but you weren't there.
Yeah, no, but in
Still
the games
haven't.
I've gotten to play, and I've also never used them in any game I've run.
Gotcha. Well, they are like an iconic monster for D&D. So, what'd you think, Cody, fighting your first gelatinous cube?
So, because I've heard about them, because again, me not being super into the details of D&D, I don't research things on my own very often, but I've heard about them and people talk about them. So the first time I ever played D&D, Scott, it was with Justin as
Yeah, I remember
DM.
that. Yeah.
And it wasn't that time actually, it was with some other people. And we were fighting some like weird little bugs, and like they just gave me a random character sheet, and I was the only one who could kill it because I had an axe, and it like because axes do, I guess, piercing damage
Slashing.
or slashing damage. And so
Yeah.
that's the only thing that could break their like carapace or whatever. And so, like, in my head, I was like, there's no point in me shooting an arrow into Jello, right? It's soup right through. So, like, that's where my mind was. I was like, I'm probably not even going to be helpful here. But little did I know.
Yeah, they dropped a lot of the 3.5 had a ton of resistances and vulnerabilities for creatures. They dropped a lot of that in 5e. So at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter what damage your weapon does because most creatures aren't affected by that stuff anymore. Like I think one of the main ones is skeletons are vulnerable to bludgeoning. It used to be the bane of everyone's existence was skeleton archers because they were resistant. It was either resistant or completely immune to piercing damage. And if they're an archer, they're really far away, and so the only way to take them out is either with magic or with a bow. And so you could never kill them because piercing damage did nothing to a skeleton.
I want blunt arrows, please.
He just
Arrows
we
with
take a
fist on the
sling. There you go. Cracks
end.
his skeleton jaw. So yeah, gelatinous cube was fun. I had fun. I was sitting there moving it around as you guys were walking through. So I was actually moving it depending on because I had a certain path that was going to follow, and you guys ended up walking right into its path. I think Steel Scar literally walked right into it. Is what happened.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty early on that you got gobbled.
So you guys killed the gelatinous cube. Eventually made your way to the end of the sewer, where you saw a bunch of debris and refuse thrown in there. And that is where you guys fought the shambling mound is what it was based on, but it had a few special abilities. Any thoughts on that fight, if you recall it? Anyone?
I remember, I think Steel Scar almost dying.
I think he got pretty low. And I do think Elamir got the kill. Because I think it was engulfing Steel Scar.
Yeah, I think I made it.
Yeah, it was like being
to
held.
single digits.
Yeah, because I think I was having trouble with figuring out when you're engulfed, what you're able to do. I think was part of what I was struggling with. Again, knowing what my creatures well was not something I did very good at that time.
I would like to read this note that I have written down from my first session with everyone. Today I learned jelly cubes cannot hear anything. Do not try to use a whisper on it. Thanks, past me.
There you go. Now you know.
Chili cubes.
Yeah, they're jelly cubes.
But yeah, so go ahead.
Yeah, I liked the idea of the trash monster because in my head, like the sprites you used on the screen, I think was like a broken like wagon wheel or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I just pictured like what you had on screen, and then so that was kind of a cool image of it. I'll save the rest of my story until the next part, but
I mean, yeah. So you guys fought the shambling mound. Gave it fire breath because it had eaten some fire breath potions.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was one of the surprises for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think it was a pretty basic fight. I think, like I said, I think Steel Scar was gobbled up. I think Elmer got the kill, and I think Levy was just running around throwing out heals and inspiration on the rims of the room.
My massive like 1d4 heals.
Oh, because I think part of the problem was at the time you took Cure Wounds.
Yeah. Because I had to touch heals only.
Yeah. And I was like, no, I'll drop that.
Mm-hmm.
that fight I think was the only time I've successfully used my absorb element spell.
Yes, I think. Well, I think you've used it before, or
I've used it to reduce damage, but I've never used it to output extra damage because it has to be your next turn and it has to be melee.
Oh, it does have to be melee?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize that. Interesting.
And I'm never in melee range anymore. So
yeah. Now that you got fancy bow.
I did some fire damage.
Gotcha. Yeah. So it was fun. And then yeah, after you guys killed it, you got some potions, made your way up topside, met up with Captain Lucas Doring,
Oh, he chewed us alive because we killed the poor freaking.
Yes, I think you guys got fined. I
We
think
got fined for it.
Yeah,
He took it out of our pay.
We just got money taken out of our pay, so that Gazette got fined.
Yeah, that was a pretty good moment when you guys realized that the cubes were. I thought it made sense, right? You have a whole sewer system, and
I mean, it
George
makes
got his
sense.
cube in there. Oh, and one of the things that I had set up in that sewer system that I don't know if you guys learned this was that it's basically was cut into sections, and there were a bunch of different levers and wheels
No, we messed with
that
them.
would.
We did mess
so
with
they
those.
would
Yeah.
they would close off sections so that the cubes were only contained in those sections. Well, what had happened was one of the employees. I don't know if this. I told you guys the employees had gone down there, and to move it to switch right the positioning, and he never came back. And that's kind of what started this whole thing of realizing there's danger in the sewers. So yeah, I think after that, you guys made it back. Way back to Groggard. Or did you have anything you wanted to talk about before we go back to Groggard?
No, we didn't talk about much anything.
Yeah.
We just went
Okay.
back.
Yeah, I think you just got upset with you. Made your way back to Groggard. Levy wrote up his first report. Steel Scar.
Oh, we actually saw Kiara leaving the guard barracks, and that was our first introduction to her.
Oh yeah,
That is true.
that is
Yes.
true.
Which will come up next arc. Yes, you did run into her. But then you guys made your way back. Levy wrote up his first report. Steel Scar looked it over with like a natural one, I think.
I did. It was a masterpiece.
Well, I think the best part was that Levy didn't roll that well.
Yeah,
But then
definitely
you
did
didn't.
not.
Steel Scar didn't roll well to read it, and so even though it wasn't that great, from Levy's perspective, Steel Scar thought it was great.
All my reports after that have been really good, though. Like I've gotten really high rolls so far.
Yeah, you have. It's been a pretty consistent rolling
20
number.
plus or something like that, almost.
I mean, you got like a freaking because I think it's performance is what I have you
Yeah.
roll for it.
My
It's like
performance is
plus 9.
I'm plus 7 in performance. It's okay. But then now I have magic that lets me read.
Oh yes,
like that. So
that's true. I didn't even think about using that for the reports. I didn't think about that.
can.
Yeah, you can. I didn't think about that. So yeah, after you guys finished up your report, I think you were signed your contracts, joined the Goblin Gazette, and went on a shopping spree. I think that was pretty much the story. If you guys had any other things you would talk about, bring up.
I
Feel
did
free
not
to-
go shopping. I was 100% convinced that those potions were dumped for nefarious reasons. And so I camped out in a tree in a busy marketplace looking for somebody
did.
to dump potions, and nothing happened.
I remember that.
I mean, it could
That'd be
still have
pretty
been a nefarious purpose, but we weren't assigned to look at it into it.
Yes. Which is one of
I'll
the
find you one day, potion dumper.
I think Steel Scar went to the post to send a letter and money to back home.
Yeah, I think that took
I
place.
do remember that, yeah.
I know you did do that. I don't remember if it was this arc, but yeah, I think it was.
Mhm. It was in between arcs.
Yeah,
So
it
right
was.
after
Yeah, it was like the shopping episode.
Yeah, that's when I did it.
Yeah, I wanted to include shopping episodes because I always liked when they did it in Critical Role. I love because like you spend all this time getting all this money and gold. It's always nice to have an episode where it's just like, let's buy some stuff now that I have all this money. So
Make it rain.
pretty much.
Splurge.
What does
Yeah.
that do for an economy of a town or city that we go into? It's like all of a sudden we're just dropping, thousands of gold into this economy.
Don't ask those questions.
Get to a point where you just have like a shopper, trader just following you with a cart. Like, here, I'll supply you guys.
Yeah, exactly.
We are the whales.
But I mean, could we not see like the merchant in a bar later getting himself drunk off his rocker and celebrating his like big sales that day?
You could.
And then if I was a less nice person, rob that man, follow our money back.
You could. Yes.
I could.
This is Levy.
Do
What
whatever you
Levy
want.
wants to do. It's what he wants to do. But
This is inner Levy thought.
I'm real bad at shopping, like I mentioned, because I hate researching. But I've done way more Well, there's two things that have gotten me to research D&D. One was our last campaign, and I was a mage, and so I was like furiously studying how spells work, and I still don't understand. And then this, I've been looking up a lot of items to see like, what do I actually buy?
It's a good reason.
And I don't have many good answers yet.
I research what I want, and I'm not gonna get what I want anytime soon.
Well, and I think especially now that we have a pretty stable campaign, like I just need to think longer term because I'll think of something and then I research it. And it's like, well, you need this to, you can buy the item, but you need the skill too or something. And so I'm like, forget it. But I think we have the time to actually accomplish those things now.
Yeah, and something I told them was, if you have something you want, let me know. If it's reasonable, you might be able to find it somewhere. If it's not reasonable, you can certainly go on a quest to find that thing.
I want to go on a quest to find the Vorpal Greatsword. There you go.
So, yes, that was one of the things I told them. So that's why I get a lot of requests sent to me of things that people want.
I hardly request anything.
I want a DOS loot, which lets me, get all those cool magic abilities from it.
Yeah. Casimir freaking sends me an entire shopping list, like down to the bolts, and I'm like,
I mean, yeah, he had the stuff I wanted on there too. He had stuff for all of us.
He did.
Yeah, it's like, if I see something that could benefit them, that's a great idea.
He's like the shopper.
Saved me?
He's the Instacart guy.
Yeah.
Just doing the personal shopping for you guys.
Kind of sad no one played Artificer, so we couldn't, make an iPhone and then do our shopping on our iPhone.
There you go. Did they? There's not an official Artificer, or is there?
Yeah.
There is an official one, or it's still a playtest.
I don't know. A buddy of my other community's playing it.
They released they re-released Artificer.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's actually been official.
It shows up under D&D Beyond.
D&D Beyond has it as...
They have a lot of playcast content, though. But yeah, I mean...
Yeah.
I know a lot of people like Artificer.
It's interesting.
They just released one of the new ones, so... But yeah, if you guys don't have anything else, we can wrap up this first Goofs and Gabs episode.
Yeah, I mean...
I can't think of anything else at the moment.
Because you weren't there.
Exactly.
No, I think it's really fun. I think Caesar earns a gold star for speaking in the voice the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
There's been like one
voice.
like F this, I can't do it. But besides that, like
Oh yeah, I think my throat was hurting that day. No, but it's because it doesn't take much to create a voice. So I'm like, you know what? This is us being silly, having fun. Let's just go all out and really embrace the role play.
I've had trouble. One of the issues I've had throughout running through this campaign is right at the beginning when we started. I've gotten better at voices. I would have a voice. I'd practice it. I'd write down notes, and then when I would go to do it live, I would just go blank, and I'm like, and I would just pull something out. That's happened to me a few times on some of the characters, and this is not the voice I wanted.
Also, I think I want to add to that. This first arc, we only saw what was like one part of the city because I mean, this is a big city according to what you showed us.
Mm-hmm.
So we only know one small part of it at this point. Like player wise, character wise, they might have known the whole thing, but
yeah. So player wise, you guys, so city was Eserim, which was a large trading hub. You guys hung out in the trading area, which I'm not remembering the name. It's like the merchant quarter, I think. It's mainly where you guys hung out this arc. That's where all the shopping and stuff takes place. There's a lot of other stuff.
Going to the guard post and going into the sewers, all of that took place in just that small area.
Yes. Yep.
I just wanted to add that so people don't think like we were exploring the whole town because all we were focused really was on that small little place for now.
Much bigger, very big town that you guys are in.
Oh yeah, next arc when we go through it, they'll understand how big it was.
Awesome. Well, if you guys don't have anything else, we can wrap up this episode.
All right.
Cool, cool.
All right. Cool, guys. Well, thank you very much for joining us for our Goofs and Gabs episode 1. Our recap of the first arc. I guess we're just calling it the Sewers arc. So I think that's episodes 1 through 4.
Yeah.
So cool. Thank you everyone for joining us. So long.
Have a great
Bye.
night,
See
everybody.
ya.